What's up, family and friends? Welcome to the Woke Nation, our nation of factual truth, where we feel free to share knowledge and spread the knowledge of factual truth without fear, without favor, and without faint, where we encourage us to live our lives and live it well through the knowledge of factual truth. And because it's important, I personally encourage you to enjoy your life wherever you are. Life is great. Life is not what is written. Life is not a gift. Life is not limited, and we are waking up to that reality once again. So today I'm sharing on what I titled, Does God Care? No, God doesn't care about anyone because God does not exist. Okay, so but before I continue, I want to make an announcement. Tomorrow, by demand, we'll be talking on Christian family toxic in Africa, all those trouble they cause, how they force it on other people. Like if you say you're no longer a Christian, in Igbo land. So Igbo Christian family toxic, we're gonna discuss it tomorrow. So the guy from South Africa, one of our brothers, he wants us to discuss on it, and I will spend time, so I will inviting people will come up live to talk about it. So if you want to contribute, you are welcomed, okay? Or you want to hear from what the other people have to say about it, you're welcome, because we have to solve our problems. We don't need to wait for any God to come and solve our problem. We don't need any white people to come and solve our problem. We have to rise up to solve our problem. And as they said, charity begins at home. And they bonyebi corner watching. So that's it tomorrow, okay? If you care, you join. I don't say if you don't join. If you don't come, you will miss. You will be punished, or God will miss you, or blessing will miss you. If you like, you join. If you don't like, no, live free life. Live freely. Don't let anybody force you to join anything. Does God care? No. Why do I say that? Because obvious. It is obvious in your family. It is obvious in your life. If there is God, you won't be suffering the way you're suffering today. If there is God, those people that are dedicated to God, worshiping God, serving God, they won't be suffering the way they are suffering. Like in their book, in a place, Job 9:23 and 24, he said, when an innocent person suddenly dies, God sits back and laughs. It does nothing. Then verse 24, he said that, he blindfolds the judges, and he has given the word to the wicked. He said, if he say it's not God, who else? You that say God created all things, God is all powerful, God is supreme. So why is the supreme being not intervening in cases of people? Why not? Huh? God doesn't care. God doesn't care for his believers. He doesn't care for his worshippers. He doesn't care for theists. Those people that say they worship him, they do all that. God doesn't care for them. Look at your life. When you were a believer, or when you were religious, or you that is religious now, does God care? God never cared for anyone. God don't care about those things that people claim he care about, or those people that people claim he care about. See the suffering children, hungry children. See people, innocent people in prison. People suffering. Some people get drowned in the ocean because they are looking for, good life, which God failed to provide for them. How about your religious parents? If God cares, why are you the one taking care of your religious parents? Only they tell you because they born you, they gave back to you, blah, blah, blah. But they talk to you about God. They tell you God can do all things. So why, if God can do all things, why are you doing anything for their religious parents? Does God care for them? No. That's why you are the one helping them. We are the one helping one another. God is not helping us in any way. Look, when you check for the definition of care, as I check it in dictionary, it said it is the provision of what is necessary for the health, welfare, maintenance, and protection of someone or something. There is no same person that will come and tell you that God is providing any of this thing for them. God doesn't provide health. God doesn't provide welfare. God doesn't provide maintenance. God doesn't provide protection. Look at what is happening in our land. And I said, these people will still have the God. You can't travel to your village anymore, but in your village you have churches. And where you are living in the city or in abroad, there are churches there. All their prayers, all that, God cannot protect them even in their land. In times of trouble, God doesn't protect anyone. God doesn't answer anyone. But they wrote it in the book that, oh, he answers. So I will read a place in Psalm chapter 34. That's one of the popular place people, believers, will quote from the Bible. Hear what he said, Psalm 34, 4 to 10. He said, I sought the Lord. When you hear that, it sounds like pastors. It sounds like priests. It sounds like ministers of God when they tell you that, oh, I did this, God answered me. God do that. Yeah. Say, I sought the Lord and he answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. Look, when I'm reading it, just think about those believers around you, their faces. You know, they're always ashamed that something is hard for them. They go begging for people, borrowing from people. They're ashamed. They say their face is radiant. No, that's fake happiness. There's no true child of God that is happy in this world. It can never happen. Because God doesn't care for them. And when they think what they have to do to get through this life, they'll be like, oh man, so this is happening. But they put up like 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 8. They haven't seen Jesus. They love Jesus. They haven't seen Jesus. They cannot see Jesus. They believe Jesus. Yet they rejoice. What makes them happy? They say, I am saved. Saved from what? You're still suffering. A God that cannot save you from poverty did not save you from any sin. Okay, verse 5. He said, this poor man, you see now from pastor like to church member, when they do the organized miracle, organized testimony. So you see that brother there, that sister there, they not this or something. It's a lie. He said, this poor man called and the Lord had him. He saved him out of all his troubles. It's a lie. No God can save anyone from any trouble, talk less of all his or her troubles. But you see, they claim it, they pray it and quote it like it is true. He said, the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and he delivers them. Look at what is happening. For example, in Nigeria, Christians pray before the election. They don't want Tinubu, they want Peter Obi. Their ministers saw the vision. They prophesy, they say it must be Peter Obi. It must be Peter Obi. Peter Obi lost. They say, okay, now we are looking onto the judiciary. If you read Job chapter 9:24, you will know the judiciary you're talking about. God is the one that blindfolds them. God is using them to torture you, to make life miserable for you. But what else? On Sunday, you see them, they will still dress up and go to church. Saturday, they go to synagogue. So Friday, they go to mosque, still praying to God. God, there is God. How can you tell me there is God? There is no God. Hey, there is God. I'm alive today is God. No. Your life is because you are eating. Stop eating, you die. You are alive because you are afraid of dying. Go and jump into lagoon and die. Go do that and let me see God take care of you. God cannot do that. Verse 8. He said, taste and see that the Lord is good. These people don't have any evidence that God is good to them. But they will ask you, they will come to preach to you. Give your life to God. Give your life to Jesus. When you give your life to God, everything will begin to work well. Well, go and look where they're living. See how they're suffering. He said, blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. It's a lie. He said, fear the Lord, you his holy people. Now, if God takes care of me, why should I fear him? If God is nice to me, why should I fear? You fear somebody that cares about you? Anyone you fear does not care about you. That means that person is your slave master. That the slaves fear the slave master. Yeah, he said when the presence of God came into the Garden of Eden, Adam, he said, because they were afraid. So why should you fear God if God loves you? Why should you fear God if God cares about you? Why should you fear God if God is real? Any child that fears the father is not a legitimate child. Legitimate children, they don't fear their children, they don't fear their parents, they don't fear their father. They go and, unless that father is evil to them, then they fear that father. He doesn't care about them. Maybe he have another other children he care about, but not them. So they fear him. But if you care for your children, they don't need to fear you. They just live with you. He said, hear what he said. Fear the Lord, you his holy people. Hear what he said. For those who fear him lack nothing. So if you fear God, if you believe in God, if you worship God and lack anything in this life, that means you don't know what you worship. He said, those who fear him lack nothing. Oh, I fear God. It means holy reverence. Okay, he said, those who fear God lack nothing. Why are you lacking fuel? Why are you lacking car? Why are you lacking house? Why are you lacking good things of life or great things of life? Why are you lacking all those things? You that claim to fear God, you that claim to believe in God, you that claim that God cares about you, why are you in lack and want? Why are you crying? Oh, I don't have money. Why are you crying? I'm sick. Why are you crying? I need this, I need that. I need money to pay my children's school fees. Why are you crying? Those who fear God lack nothing. So if you lack, that means God doesn't care about you. Because you fear God, yet you lack. He don't care about you. The last one, verse 10, he said, the lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. Another lie. Says those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. Where? Ask them where. Those who seek the Lord, they go to church. Even after church service, they don't have means to go back home. Some of them are looking for people to give them lift. Some of them jump into public transportation to go home. They don't have their own private car to go home. They say they lack no good thing. Is car not good thing? Huh? Some of them even borrow clothes to go. Some of them borrow money to give offering. They lack good things in life, but they tell you, those who trust in the Lord, they lack no good thing. It's a lie. In the time of trouble, look at them. Their God never answered their prayers. He never showed up. God never showed up. God doesn't care. Angels of God doesn't care. Jesus, the Son of God, doesn't care. Ministers of God doesn't care. All they care, all the ministers of God care about you is your money. They look at your wallet, bank account. How much do you have? They don't care about you. But the question is this, where is the divine care they talk about? Divine provision, divine providence, divine protection, divine health, divine this, divine that. They are all lying because they are liars by faith. Look at Psalm 115 verse 4 to 8. All their gods are idols, man-made. Every god is man-made. It doesn't matter how you try to define it. Every god is man-made. And that God have mouth, he cannot speak. That God have eyes, he cannot see. That's why they are suffering. He doesn't care about them. God does not care for anyone. If God exists and cares, no believer in God, no taste, will complain about the harsh conditions of their lives, of their country, of their family. No believer. You can't tell me your God is free, your God is rich, your God have everything, your God can do everything. Yet you're having family crisis, you're suffering in your family, you're having land dispute. You know, many bad things happening in your family. Like my family is a very religious family, right? Every end of year, they do crossover in my family. And sometimes they go to church. If you tell my family members who believe in this God so much that our father will die this year, they will say no. Because they prayed. They call on God. He died at the age of 78, not even up to 80. Not up to 100 or 120 that every Christian claim. And my father was a very dedicated religious man in Anglican church. But he died. But had it been somebody prophesied to my mother that my father will die, she will say it's a lie. They prayed and fasted. They prayed and fasted over me. God did not answer them. The same thing happened in your family. The same thing happening everywhere. God does not care for anyone. If God exists and God cares, there's no worshiper of God anywhere that will lack any good thing. They won't be complaining about bad government. They won't be complaining about bad road, bad infrastructures, lack of power, electric power, lack of data. They won't be complaining about that. Some of them, the phone they are using, they can't even bring it out because they lack. They don't have money to have smartphone. They are still using old bullshit. Some of them that have smartphone, they don't even have money to buy data. They can't use the phone as they're supposed to, only to make calls. Okay, so God never showed up in times of need, but people does. It is people that shows up. In your time of need, who do you run to? They pretend, these people, they pretend that they went to God, they pray to God. But after they go to doctor, they go to mechanic, they go to neighbor, they go to brother, they go to sister. Please, I need this. Can you help me? Borrow me this. I will give you by God's grace this, by God's grace that. It is only people that shows up. It is time you begin to live an honest life. Stop living this evil life you are living, call life of faith in God. There is no God that cares about you. No God. You remember the Christian girl they killed in the north? She cried. Every Christian, the first thing that we shout is Jesus. Oh God, oh my God, God please, let it. They stone her to death. Some Christians still, they burn them alive. God does not care. My people, wake up. Africans, wake up. Black people, wake up. We are so brainwashed and indoctrinated that if you see a sick person in the hospital telling you, yeah, God it is, God cares about me. You are in the hospital, you are sick. Which God? If God cares, he wouldn't allow that sickness to come to you. He said he will not allow your food to be moved. But he moved to the hospital. He moved to prison. He moved to many places you suffer. Yet you believe there is this God. My immediate younger brother spent 3 years in prison in Italy. But he still believed that he survived it by the grace of God. He believed he came out by the grace of God. Where was the grace of God before his arrest? Where was the grace of God for the whole 3 years? It was people. I was the one sending money. I was the one, sending what he asked me for. God didn't show up. But why? Because we are raised in that lie. He believed the lie. He practiced it. Oh no, it is God. It is by the grace of God. I made it because God is with me. No, God is not with anybody. And no spirit can possess anybody. Nobody can possess anybody. When you open up yourself, all you see is your natural organs. Because you are natural. There's no soul in you. There's no spirit in you. And there's no God in you. Trust God and live humanly. God